Shalom, I'm Rabbi Michael Panitz, speaking to you from the pulpit of Temple Israel of Norfolk, Virginia. It's February 9th, 2021, and I'll be speaking with you now on the subject of accepting personal loss for the greater gain. It's 2 days after the Super Bowl. Now, you should beware of rabbis watching the Super Bowl. We are apt to find sermons lurking there, and I did just that. I'm not so interested in the final score as some other people who watch the game. I am interested in the evidence of character that comes through in the sport. At one point, I saw the quarterback of the Tampa Bay team, Tom Brady, and the safety of the Kansas City team, Tyrann Mathieu, engaging in a bit of mutual unsportsmanlike conduct. After the game, I read that Tom Brady sent an apology to Mathieu, and the Kansas City player, in his turn, gave a very fine statement in a post-game interview, which is actually the text of my sermon. So you might be thinking, what did he say that becomes the text of a sermon? I invite you to ponder that while we talk a little bit about Torah. This week's Torah reading is right at the dividing line of the two genres that make up the Bible, story and law. Last week, we were still in the midst of the narrative. The children of Israel had successfully escaped from Pharaoh's chariots. They were in the Sinai, heading towards freedom. Last week, the story concluded with them standing at the foot of Mount Sinai, receiving the Ten Commandments. Those words are a prologue to this week's reading, which is a reading filled with laws, as much of the balance of the 5 books of Moses likewise contain many, many laws for a just society. From the grand universal imperatives of the 10 divine utterances, do not murder, do not steal, do not commit perjury, and so on, we descend to the details of assault and battery, of caring for a straying or an overburdened animal, details of treating other people with equity and respect, civil laws, criminal laws, family laws, procedural, judicial requirements, a whole law code. All of these cases in this week's Torah portion presuppose that we set up a system of justice, both for civil and for criminal situations that require adjudication. That, according to the Torah, is how we bring the lofty ideals of Mount Sinai down to the valley of everyday life. Now, in any system of adjudication, one party will win, and the other party will lose. That is so obvious that we teach it at the grade school level. We teach it on the playground. We teach it in the kindergarten classroom. It is one of the essential tasks of raising children, to train them how to accept loss. It's human nature to take it hard when we lose. But any hope of civilized society rests on being able to overcome our narcissistic tendencies and to accept loss. This shows up in today's Torah reading as well. Exodus chapter 22, verse 27, do not revile a judge. The rabbis developed this thought in a powerful parable. Our sages taught, once a man had a case and came before a judge who ruled in his favor. Upon leaving the court, he said, "There is no judge in the world like this one." After some time, the man had another case before the same judge, who now ruled against him. Upon leaving, the man cried, "There is no judge more foolish than he." People chided him. "Yesterday praiseworthy, and today a fool?" Hence, Scripture admonishes, "You shall not revile a judge." This is what brings us to the Super Bowl. In a post-game interview, one of the standout players for the Kansas City Chiefs shared this pearl of wisdom. He said, "It was a bad day for us to kind of have a bad day. Usually, we complement each other really well. You got to learn how to win in this league, and you got to learn how to lose. Losing is the hardest truth you have to learn." That's it right there. Losing is the hardest truth you have to learn. Let's jump from sports to society. Last month's grievous injury to our country, added to the insults of a half-decade and more, came from the failure of a significant portion of our electorate to absorb this fundamental lesson. All of their malignant energy was brought to a violent focus at the Capitol building by the catalyst of an inability to lose. Say what you will about the following political leaders in their successful and productive careers of service to our country. In 1992, George H.W. Bush knew how to lose. In 1980, Gerald Ford knew how to lose. In 1976, in the Republican primaries, Governor Ronald Reagan knew how to lose. In 1960, Richard Nixon knew how to lose. That's what kept America at peace with itself during times of tension and transition. We have forgotten that lesson, or too many of us have forgotten that lesson in 2020 and 2021. It is vital that we relearn it for our very survival. Shalom.